JT Show.
What's going on, you sexy beasts, and welcome to the second episode ever of the Smash JT Show, where we talk about divisive issues in the video game industry. And we got a lot to cover this week, so let's just jump right into it. An Australian news show, and I use the word news very lightly here, called Today, spoke about the Fortnite topic and had a professional give her opinion as to why this is bad for kids. The problem being, her angle talks about proven studies, but doesn't really give any references. Here, listen to what I'm talking about.
That violent games like this increase aggressiveness, increase angry thoughts, increase aggressive behaviour.
You would think that's a little strange on its own, and she kind of ends up contradicting herself as the conversation progresses.
Look, it's not bad for them so long as it's monitored, you know, would be my advice. No one's saying for 1 second, don't play it.
So basically, what I'm gathering from her conversation here with the news anchors is you shouldn't let your kids play this game because it makes them really violent. But you're okay to let your kids play this game as long as you watch them. Then it won't make them violent. That's really strange. And even though she tries to recover the situation at the end saying, no, you can play this game, just make sure you watch the kids while you play it, the Twitter post they gave gives a completely different impression. It's proven that violent games like Fortnite increase aggressive behavior and a lack of empathy in players. Will you let your kids continue to play? That was the Twitter post from the Today Show in Australia, trying to get people riled up, and it sure as hell worked. Everyone on the internet is talking about how ridiculous this lady is, and if anything, hopefully it shines a light on how crazy her perspective is and how far we've come as a society to actually start looking past these stupid, immature ways to focus on games from someone who has no expertise whatsoever and no idea what they're talking about. Hopefully this exposes her lack of intelligence. But that's where I stand on this issue. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you guys feel like this is something that you're worried about with kids playing in the future and that video games somehow increase aggression? Or do you think she's just completely crazy?
The research is very much telling us, and there's over 116 research reports telling us that it affects the structure and performance of the brain as well.
Onto something that not many people have talked about. The creators of a game called Battalion 1944 punished a player for threatening the developers of the game. One of the team members, SUSPC7, complained about the situation to Discord about a selection of unique skins going to the winner of the UK-based esports organization Endpoint. A complaint that included a threat to shoot up the studio, complete with a reference to the April shooting at YouTube. SUSPC7 told The Verge that his outburst came after the developers brushed off his concerns about the delay in getting the skins. Obviously, I was just trying to be funny and shouldn't have used YouTube shooting as an example of that. Basically saying they might answer my question if I did the same, but it was just a joke that got blown out of proportion, he said. Initially, the developers of the game were going to hold back on giving this character his golden skin on his gun, but eventually decided to make a joke out of it instead. That right there is a dick drawn on the gun. People won't really see it, but they'll know it's there, and they wanted to have a friendly joke with this guy. The developers wanted to get this guy back for making a joke about shooting up their offices. Even though it's a joke, this day and age, you can't take anything like that lightly, because there are some legit crazy people out there. And from my perspective, hearing this story, reading about it, and figuring out what was going on with it, I think it was kind of a bad idea for the developer to draw the dick on the gun, because it makes them feel like it was justified and you got something special and unique that no one else in the game has. Almost in a way encouraging that type of behavior in the future. But I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Do you think it was funny for the developer to draw a dick on this guy's gun for being a dick to them with that joke? Or do you feel like it was a bad idea by the developer because it might encourage that type of behavior to be repeated by other gamers in the community going forward? For those of you who have been living under a rock recently, E3 2018 has just concluded this week. Tons of awesome games have been announced, tons of new things coming down the pipe, and tons of frustrations from a lot of gamers. As far as my perspective and coverage, I watched every single one of these events, was blown away by a few things, and was left wanting more by most of them. If you guys missed my coverage on that, I'll put links to every single quick recap that I made. Most of them last between 5 to 10 minutes on how I felt about each conference. Now, one thing I will say from E3, this year was focused on games, but the problem that I saw with it was most of the games aren't coming until mid to late 2019, and a slew of other games are coming beyond that. so it was really hard to get super excited on a personal level for most of what was announced at E3 because it's so long to wait for so many of these games. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate got announced, and Nintendo said that every single character who has ever battled in any Smash Bros. Game will be included in this version as a playable character, which completely blew my mind. And that game is coming December of 2018. Other games I'm super excited about coming out of E3, starting with Halo Infinite, looks absolutely spectacular. However, we just got an update recently from the developer that the game's being built on a brand new engine, and what they showed at E3 was basically a tech demo. It's not even far into the game. They got a long way to go into development of that one. I wouldn't expect it until at least 2020. Any sooner than that, I would be shocked. But it's E3, so I'm kind of used to that by now. Other games I'm super excited about, Just Cause 4, the new Tomb Raider game, Kingdom Hearts 3, which is coming out in January 2019, and I wish that was coming out in December so I could get it for Christmas time for my kids, but it's not. There's so many great games. Unfortunately, like I said, most of them aren't coming till at least early 2019. So let me know down in the comments below what excited you guys the most. What games are you most looking forward to from E3 2018? For this week's Smashing Video of the Week, I want to focus on a channel called Suckerpinch, who created a video called Reverse Emulating the NES to give it superpowers. This video absolutely blew my mind.
You know, you shouldn't be able to play Super Mario World with its advanced graphics on an unmodified Nintendo. Putting aside the janky noise and the blinking, it works, and I can play it because I've also arranged for my controller to pass through.
He was able to reverse emulate an NES cartridge using onboard CPUs that you could buy on Amazon and actually making it play Super Nintendo games. Yeah, you heard that right. Playing Super Nintendo games on the NES. This is why I love the retro gaming community. Every single week that passes, there's something that shows up that completely blows my mind. And if you haven't watched this video, it's 100% worth your time. And as always, I'll put the link to the Smashing Video of the Week down in the description below. And finally, I want to get your guys' opinion on this Sony Fortnite controversy that's kind of going around. I did make a specific video on it, but in case you missed that, Sony is blocking accounts from Fortnite being able to play it on the Switch or Xbox One if it's ever been linked to the PSN network in the first place. And while this doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world because, you know, you play a game on a console and you feel like that's where you're going to be playing it, as long as you're forewarned, I don't really have that big of an issue with it. Yeah, it's still a dick move, but yeah, you're forewarned. The problem I had with this whole situation is that Sony didn't tell their gamers that if you link your PSN account to the third-party Epic Games account to play Fortnite on your PlayStation 4, that you'd be locked to the PSN network with that account for all eternity. And that was some serious BS, at least in my mind. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about this issue. Do you feel like Sony's in the right because it's their platform, they should be allowed to do whatever they want? Or are you kind of on the other side of this where, if they're gonna do that, they should probably give people the heads up? That's all I got for you guys today in this week's edition of the Smash JT Show. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any topics you want me to cover going forward in the future as well. If you enjoyed this episode and you missed the first one, click on that link right next to me there. And if you enjoy the content I'm making here and you're still not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're new to Smash JT and you still haven't visited SmashJT.com, hit the SmashJT.com button below me and become a Smasher. It's free, it's fun, and the forums over there are hopping. That's all I got for you guys today. You stay sexy.